Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. I thought what we would do on the dev server is look at more of the French naval vehicles. Since we have this extended dev server, it means that I can do a harder look on more of them and also just kind of cover what's coming in the French blue water tech tree. Doesn't seem to be a coastal tech tree anywhere about, but with the blue water stuff, there's at least some cool things to look at. The first one we'll look at today is the Chacal. This is a rank 1 battle rating 4.0 machine, and you can find it at the start of the tech tree. It is in the reserve, it used to be, but they've actually switched it with the Barask, so instead this will be the first vehicle you research if you decide to not go for the Vautour. And I generally think it's usually better to go up by BR, so the Chacal should usually be the first one that you have a look at. This vehicle is part of the Chacal class, weirdly enough, and it's from 1938. It has a lot of similar things to its design that a lot of other 1930s destroyers had access to, mainly a big focus on main armament and not really too much else apart from some torpedoes. So the Chacal is armed with 5 130mm guns, which is a lot for a 4.0 with its main caliber armaments, but apart from that, doesn't really have too much else. It has 2 75mm 50 Model 1922 guns. You can find them here and also here. They will at least provide some extra support, but if you're looking for AA support, they're definitely not going to give that. And then also the torpedoes, the 1923 DTs, in 2 sets of triple mounts, so you have 6 overall on the vehicle. Now, the 130s actually look pretty fun to use. I'm looking forward to this French tech tree just to see how well the guns do compared to the opposition, because a lot of them are packing a decent amount of damage, and also the reloads are not too bad on the vehicles themselves. The targeting speed on the 130mm is pretty abysmal. It's not good at all, doesn't really turn or do anything, but it does have a first stage fire rate of 8 rounds per minute, which is quite nice, and a ready use set of ammo of 48, so it's going to be quite hard to actually get through that, even in a prolonged session. Then you have the ammo underneath, which is sat down here on the lower end of the hull, and also, of course, the ammo elevators, bringing up everything going up. There's a massive length of the vehicle where it's just engines and then nothing really else apart from the transmissions, and for the additional armor you actually have some on the turrets themselves, some 10mm covering the 130s, so it gives it a little bit of extra protection, meaning that you can just keep firing over and over. All the other armor values are pretty stationary for the vehicle as well. This is pretty much what you're going to end up with in terms of protection for the vehicle, so not too much. You're going to have to rely on your 221 members of crew. One of the things that they are bringing in for naval is a change to battleship DMs. I thought I'd mention it here since I haven't mentioned it previously, and it kind of looks interesting how they're going to set it up, especially with the way that the crew is placed around the machines themselves. So that'll basically change up how or where you target those things. So the Chacal has these 130s, and what's nice about them is they have a lot of TNT equivalent, so nearly 4 kilos. If you have a look at other machines which are of similar BR, a lot of them only have 1.5 kilos worth of TNT equivalent for the explosive mass. So this melanite that they're running is going to pack a hell of a punch on the 130s, and then as well, they actually have a SAP-BC which also has a lot of TNT equivalent in it as well, more than a lot of HE shells that you'll find at these BRs. So this is why I'm interested in these French vehicles. The fact that they have a lot of damage basically through these guns, so if you can get them on target, it should be pretty useful. The 75mm get a HE shell, which only pens 8mm, and then they also get a HETF, surprisingly enough, which is just the same, just with a timed fuse on it. You only have two 75s, and as I said, the maneuverability of them is, or the mobility of them is not very good, so you're not gonna hit a ton of stuff, but maybe once in a while you get a lucky hit to finish off a vehicle, whether it be a naval or an air vehicle running around. The torpedoes, now these torpedoes are pretty weak, they're definitely not the best. If you remove the torpedo mode from the vehicle, this is the standard torpedoes, so they go 9 kilometers and go at 72 kilometers an hour. So, okay, like kind of middling, but not great. But with the torpedo mode, you get 4 extra kilometers and also a reduced speed of about 10 kilometers per hour. So you have a trade-off depending on if you want to take them or not. I generally think that they're not very good, but at least in Naval Arcade, they are set up in a way so you can just keep firing them over and over again, and the arcs are not terrible, especially on the back one, so you can just keep going with them, which will be nice. So the vehicle has a few things going for it, mainly the guns, which will give it a lot of oomph, I think, for a lot of players. And I'm just hoping that as this French tech tree comes out, that becomes a defining factor. This massive amount of damage that the main guns will do. Because it's really easy. You can see by the way the arcs of the torpedoes here. So the arcs are pretty nice that you can use, and then also it goes all the way back over here, which is quite nice. So not too bad in general for it. I'm just hoping that in the future there'll be more vehicles to kind of sort out this area. Otherwise we're going to end up in a situation where this vehicle won't have a lineup to run with it, so it'll just end up in a sense where it'll just be left by itself, and then you got to run it with the 237s, which is fine, but it's always nice to have like a full lineup on your vehicles in general. So the guns are quite loud, as you can tell, but also at a 10-second reload means that you can just keep lobbing in rounds and just do a ton of damage moving through the place. And just kind of enjoy your time with the French naval. I don't know how much the speed is different to others. It seems pretty much the same, slightly different in acceleration. But the main process, or the main interesting thing about this, is of course the good old guns themselves. So hopefully people enjoy them. Hopefully people can actually see this tech tree and have fun with it. I just haven't seen a lot of people chat about it. So for me, it's one of those things I'm going to focus on, because I think it might be slightly underappreciated. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank Millie Draper, Juan the Panda, Nick R. Cupila, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Merciless Reaper, Orange Tail, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Moxie B. Young, Peter Grayling, Jerry Provolt, Bareen, Alan Hacker, Sem Arslan, Uncle Bean, Derek R, and Lafouche for supporting the channel.